Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and today we're going to be answering the question, is the Trandoshan arc the darkest arc of the Clone Wars? So this little blur right here is our youngest, our little youngling, and we're trying to film during the day for these videos, and what that meant is holding a baby. So, but wouldn't have it any other way. But what's really cool, just switching gears to this very thing, this Trandoshan arc is closing season 3 of the Clone Wars, and it's interesting. Super high level synopsis is you have like Anakin, Ahsoka, and Plo Koon doing this little mission on Felucia. You don't really get into it. It's just more like kind of trade route, you know, hyperspace lane stuff. And then Ahsoka gets taken by Trandoshans, and they get taken to their homeworld, to like a moon.
One of their islands.
Yeah, and basically find out the Trandoshans are having this kind of a Hunger Games-esque kind of thing. Basically, it's a callback to this short story, A Dangerous Game, where they're kidnapping children in different species and dropping them on their islands and then hunting them down. Really crazy. And it's all about their survival. And at the end, you get Chewbacca, I guess, kidnapped as well. Kind of odd. But then they get saved and rescued, and that's kind of everything that happens. Mm-hmm. But in particular, asking the question, is this the darkest? You have all sorts of stuff when you get like the Umbara arc, and you know, some of the stuff in Maul and the zombies and the witches and all of that. But I think that this is perhaps the darkest, just because it has to do with like
children. Yeah,
kidnapping children, right?
It's pretty dark.
And you asked the question, which everybody asks about the Clone Wars, of, isn't this a kid's show? Like, it's kind of odd. Hey, I wanted to let you know that we have full watch-along videos for every single one of these Clone Wars arcs, as well as early releases of every video we make over on Patreon. We do this because YouTube refuses to monetize us. We've actually been denied over a dozen times with over a dozen appeals. Every single time they have some excuse of reused content, even when the only videos we've had has just been our faces. And so with that, we've just given up forever on ever getting support from the platform of YouTube. And so if you want to support the channel but get some awesome, good, extra goodies, go check us out over on Patreon, and you can find the link in the description and the comment. But overall, before we even get to that and really kind of settling, is this the darkest so far? Like, what do you think kind of overall about this?
About the 2-episode arc?
Yes.
I think it's very entertaining. There's a lot of action. Mm-hmm. We watched the featurettes. So I was paying attention to the, what do you call it, vegetation?
Yeah.
The vegetation and the bugs and the animals and birds. And so that was really cool. But I found myself most of the time just kind of like locked on and watching, which is a good sign. I wasn't like distracted or elsewhere. So it was very entertaining. But yeah, as a mom, I'm like, I don't know that I would show my children that. I don't think it's like horrendous or anything like that either, but yeah, so there's just that I don't know, but
that balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
but I think it's a action-packed arc that keeps your attention
for sure. And I was saying, like, we should have had like sounds morbid, but almost like a death count, like an on-screen death count, because there were so many, and it was like some of them were pretty brutal, like somebody getting impaled, like a kid getting shot through the heart, people getting thrown off of like floating buildings, like crazy stuff. And so that's the point where it's like, man, this is like, Clone Wars gets that rap a lot, where it's like,
definitely not one of my favorite arcs.
Yeah,
it's not, probably not even one of my like memorable ones or.
Well, and I
appreciate the vegetation.
Yeah.
And like the entertainment, I guess, but yeah.
And
it's a little rough for me.
And even what's interesting for me, past just even though it's a cartoon and it is kind of childish, past like the brutality of it or whatever, is when I think of it story-wise, it's definitely heavy-handed in Ahsoka development 1.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially the two things that were kind of weird to me is that how she like comforts both Chewbacca and Anakin for both kind of being like unsure and distraught. I'm like, these are like seasoned heroes, I'm not an Ahsoka hater at all.
We like Ahsoka.
But that was a little weird to me. And it was weird that like Chewbacca got captured and...
Right. I didn't really like that. Like it doesn't fully make sense.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't see how, or we weren't explained how he got captured, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, overall, I think it's 1, honestly. I would, if people are looking at it, like, should I watch it all? Like, if you've already seen it, I'd say you could probably, like, move past it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to move the story that much, because you have this stuff happening, and then there's this kind of side quest.
Right.
But overall, would you say like, dislike, essential, non-essential, kind of where, I know you said like it's not like your favorite, all of that, but if you're thinking of story, Ahsoka's development, because you even see like the Mirai species bird, you don't see Mirai, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does develop her character. Yeah, it definitely does. But then it's kind of then you get some weird development, like with Chewbacca. Like, there's some other things. But for Ahsoka, yeah, I think it is a good character development arc. I liked some stuff about it, and I disliked some stuff about it. So, and it's not really pulling me one way or the other. I would be fine skipping over this arc, but I don't mind.
Sure.
So I'm more like neutral. I wouldn't say like I like it or dislike it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of other arcs are more highly rated for me, just because, I don't know, I'm an emotional person.
Sure.
So that's not really my thing.
You don't really want to be sucked into that negative emotion for so long.
No.
For a
children's show.
Very quick resolve and payoff.
Yeah. Like 15 seconds.
Yeah. There's this funny line that Ahsoka has. Yeah. It's funny. But no, you bring up a good point about, I'm all about developing a character, but if it's at the expense of other established characters and their kind of development and arc, and I don't know, it's like I don't have the time to sit here and like analyze like is this part of their development? It just felt weird to bring in heavy hitters and like kind of pull them back a little bit. But for me, the only thing I remember about this is just the weird last fight scene. That's the only thing that really stuck in my mind. So when you're talking about would I rewatch it, that's kind of where I land too. It's like, I don't know that I would, but we did, because we're watching all of them arc by arc in chronological order.
For the first time. We've seen all of them before, but this is our first time, arc by arc.
In chronological order.
Yes.
So, when we just get down to the crux of it, considering all of Clone Wars, and our opinion might change as time goes on, I think this is the darkest Clone Wars arc.
Yes, so far.
And if you made it this far, let us know in the comments if you agree. Let us know your thoughts on the arc. But do you think that some of the other ones that are maybe more commonly thought of as dark are or not? One of my points to that even is you have this whole thing, not only the children being hunted and the on-screen deaths, I almost totally forgot about this. You have this trophy room that they have.
It's disturbing.
And this trophy room has all of their killed victims or whatever. But when you think about it, you're like, oh, it's these alien species. But these are all sentient species, and if that was like in our world, you'd be like, that's insane. That's a serial killer.
Yep.
And again, when it boils down to it, it's like a kid show, and you're like, that's why I'm like, this places it there. So maybe the intensity isn't the same, but no, definitely that's where I land.
Yeah.
But with that,
with you.
Feel free to check out our other videos going through Clone Wars arc by arc in chronological series. And with that, we are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.